Whoa! This pike just slammed this fly. Welcome everybody to the New Fly Fisher. I'm your host, Colin McKeown. In today's show, we're going to be talking about pike on small lakes and ponds in the American West and Canadian West. I'm here with Ben from Fishtails Fly Shop. It's going to be a great show. We're going to be talking about the tactics and the equipment and how you can catch these wonderful pike here in the spring, anywhere in the West. Stay tuned. Oh, it's a nice fish. Look at this. Look at this. Okay. Oh. Yeah. On today's show, we're fly fishing for one of my favorite warm water species, Northern Pike. It's the end of May, and the pike have just finished spawning. We're fly fishing on a small prairie lake just outside of Calgary, Alberta. This lake is fairly shallow and typical of the Prairie region, like many in the USA and Canada. My guide today is Ben Rudmick from Fishtails Fly Shop in Calgary.
All right.
Like me, Ben loves to fly fish for pike. He's an experienced guide who does a lot of float trips on the Bow River for rainbow and brown trout. It's a real treat for him to spend the day casting for pike. Before we began fishing, I talked to Ben a bit about the lake and what type of fishing we could expect. We just got out of the breeze because it's a real windy day here in southern Alberta on this Prairie Lake. And Ben, I thought it's a good opportunity for us to talk a little bit about this lake and the type of fish that are in it. Now, what's the average size of the pike in here?
Well, in these smaller pothole lakes, you'll find the average size fish is about 25 inches or so. You're not going to find those real big monster pike that live in the bigger reservoirs around southern Alberta.
But this one's probably going to be, what, 5 pounds, 6 pounds?
Yeah.
A big one would be 8, 9 pounds?
Yeah, for sure. I've caught a few 30 inches, a couple 33 inches, but nothing quite in the 40-inch range in this lake.
Now, the one thing we were talking about earlier, which I think is important to talk about, is the time of year. We're here basically at the end of May, and the fish have spawned. Mm-hmm. This is post-spawn conditions, but the fish will get the feedback on. And can you talk a little bit how we're going to fish to these pike and why they're where they are?
Yeah, for sure. What you want to look for is about a 10-degree difference in the main lake and in the bays, because the fish are looking for that warmer water, and the magic number is usually around 55. If you can find about a 55-degree Fahrenheit bay, you'll find that the fish activity is usually pretty good in there, because they want to find that warmer water where the bioproductivity is excellent in there.
In terms of the food base here, the forage, what do the pike have to feed on in this lake?
Well, there's a number of minnow species in here. There's some of the bigger pike will eat the smaller pike, and that's primarily it. A lot of minnows and some leeches as well.
Oh, leeches, yeah, that's right, pike hold. Now, a lot of people don't know that. In fact, this pattern right here that you've just put on for me, which is kind of like a clouser with the barbell, but an egg-sucking leech pattern, and you say this one's really effective for the pike.
It works well. Black's a great color for pike, especially when we call them negative pike. They're not really on. They're not really aggressive, but the black will work really well for those negative pike.
What are some of the other patterns you like to use?
I like to use a chartreuse and white clouser, any sort of a minnow pattern.
Right there.
Any sort of a minnow pattern, Bow River size streamers. You don't need massive streamers for these smaller pike. They'll seem to eat whatever you throw in front of them, basically.
You got your sunglasses?
Yeah.
Just
pop those
it's a
on.
safety thing.
Yeah.
So how deep is it out here? Just right
Drops
here?
off right in here. On the black. Nice work, Colin.
Oh. First cast, Ben. I only gave it, I think, 3 short pulses, but the big thing I did was I gave it a lot of little twitches.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes, whether it's brook trout or it's Northern Pike, they really like to have that fly undulate. Boy, did he hammer it though. I love pike fishing on a fly rod. This is so exciting. More people should be doing this. I mean, it is something a lot of people are missing out on. Warm water.
People underestimate it. That's a decent sized one.
Yeah.
I can get in here and get them.
Okay. All right.
Barbless hook should pop right out, which it did. And that's your average size pike in the lake here.
Yep.
All right.
Sorry, how you handle this one?
Yeah,
Ben?
I'll come over there.
Don't worry. This one feels like he's got some more weight than the other one. No, he's about the same size. He just hammered that.
Dragging my fly line.
There we go.
He ate this one.
Oh, he nailed it, didn't he? That's a good grip you got on there where you're not going in the gills and you're not going to hurt the fish.
Just in the corner. You might get a better angle on it there.
Okay.
I'll try to open his mouth for you.
Oh, yeah, I can see it. You show the pike mouth to the camera. Okay, let's get him back in there. Okay. Oh, there he goes. Outstanding.
All right, looks like I might have to switch to a black one here, eh?
I would, and it's slow. What I did was I slowed it down like you told me to. I'm giving the rod little pumps,
Right.
pause, strip, 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 pump,
Right.
pump, pump, you know, things like that. It
Right.
seems to be working.
Perfect, good work. The rig I like to use for these smaller pike is a 6-weight outfit. You don't need a heavier rod than that for these 25-inch pike. So a good 6-weight outfit with a floating weight forward fly line works perfectly. Taper that to a sinking leader. A scientific angler makes a good one, Rio. About 5 feet is all you need. About 10 to 12 pound test works just great. And to that you use a double surgeon's knot to a wire leader. The wire is important because these pike are toothy critters, and if you use a mono, they'll break that like that. So you want to make sure you use some good heavy wire. And the hooks we use also are usually a saltwater hook. Something that's a little more durable. It's not going to bend back on you on their tough mouths. So that's the rig I like to use for these pike. Yeah, we'll be using a bit of a slower retrieve today. There are situations in the summer where we'll want to use a quicker retrieve for those aggressive pike. But today, when the fish are just coming off their spawn and starting to eat, you don't have to strip it extremely fast. Just a nice, slow-tempoed retrieve works just great for them. Go for it. All right. Another nice little guy. A little scrappy. Took it on the outside, which is always nice. When they take it down here, you don't have to touch them sometimes. You can just get the hook. And go like this. Just like that. Go and get another one.
Just going to get them in here again. It's real critical for any type of streamer fishing. Keep your rod tip down. Helps connect you better with the fly. You got him. Oh, this is a nice fish. Oh, 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 oh.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, he's off. He came right at me. I didn't keep enough tension on. That was a nice fish. first run that these pike make, you don't want to do what I just had, which was I had too much line and I had it wrapped a bit around the butt of my rod. And boy, he took off. I'm lucky. I just got it off in time. Okay. Ooh.
Scrappy little guys, eh?
Yeah, that was a nice one you got there just before. Oh,
yeah.
There we go.
Came out and whacked it.
Now, we got to find that 33 incher.
Yeah,
these guys are hitting like this. Now, what's amazing is that people think you have to fly to northern Canada to get this type of fishing. And the fact is, in a lot of prairie pot lakes like this, or ponds, there's some great pike action as well as bass action, and it's a lot of fun on a fly rod. He hoovered that one, didn't he? You did. Those business teeth. Outstanding.
There you
Thanks,
go.
Ben.
All right.
Let's get some more.
Let's get some big ones. Should throw a nice cast into the zone here. See if we can't get one. Alright, that should be where they are. So what you want to do is have nice even strips, about 12 inches. Not too quick, especially when the fish aren't very, very active. So again, 12-inch strips. You can mix it up, make them a bit jerky once in a while. Wiggle the rod tip. Let's try to trigger that strike and trigger their aggressive nature. Another important thing is you want to keep your rod tip nice and low. So when a fish hammers it, you want to be able to just lift up that rod and set the hook into their bony mouths. See if we can get one here to follow. These smaller guys here, you don't have to get them onto the reel. You can just fight them with the line. Just strip it in, be careful you don't bend that rod too much. They'll snap it. Pike have been known to break a few rods. Right. Starting to chew up my leader a bit here.
There you go. Oh, all right. Oh, he's off. I'll tell you, this is fun. This is a lot of fun. They're not huge fish, but that doesn't matter. This is a lot of fun with a 6-weight rod.
Well, they just finished spawning earlier in the spring after ice out, so they're cruising around in the shallows and in the flats in that warmer waters, and they're just on the drop-off looking for those bait fish or smaller pike and some leeches to eat. So we'll be waiting at about knee depth, comfortable depth, looking for those shallows and those drop-offs where we can make our casts and make our retrieves just in those cruising zones.
If you want to learn more about the patterns we use today for shallow water pike, or to learn more about our series, then please go to www.thenewflyfisher.com. Now, Ben, I think one of the things that's important for the viewers at home to understand is that, the wind is blowing in here. It's actually causing us a little problem with the microphones, but the wind's blowing all the warm water in here, which in turn is bringing the pike in because the bait fish are being brought in here because of the disturbance of the bottom, and they're feeding on the organisms that are down there and the invertebrates and things like that. What do you find? Do you work the contours when you're casting, or you just kind of fan it out?
I like to cover as much water as possible, because if you swing your fly through an area and you catch a pike, it's good to move about 10 feet and cast again. But in a little bay like this where they're concentrated, it's all right to make the same cast in the same area.
Just missed one. Now, do you find that the pike themselves, are they roaming, or are they holding in schools? I mean, these are smaller fish, so are they schooling fish?
They won't really school up, but they will stack up in here. It's typical to find the bigger fish will just sit and almost sunbathe, as the smaller ones just kind of hang out in this water. And if something comes across their way, being very territorial as they are, they'll come and they'll whack it out of aggression and hunger.
Now, the one thing that kind of strikes me about this pond is that, or what, 3-4 acre size pond here or lake, is that it doesn't have a lot of features. Right. So in terms of the structure, what are you looking for when you're walking around one of these lakes looking for points for pike?
You're looking for good little drop-offs, like there is one in here. It'll probably go down to about 4 or 5 feet, which is good depth for them. And again, the most important feature is just water temperature. So there's not, in a lake like this where there's not too much structure, your most important tool is your thermometer. Like I said before, you don't need anything extremely big for these smaller pike. So anything kind of bright, tide salt water style, some deceiver patterns, some clouser minnow patterns, even some popper patterns. You can get them on the top water if they get really aggressive. But it's extremely important to make sure that you crimp the barb on all your flies, because if they swallow it and take it deep, it's going to be tough to get it out of their bony mouths. So it's extremely important to make sure you pinch down that heavy barb. Plus, in these windy days, you could catch your ear, and you don't want to be getting that out. There we are.
Right, Ben. Spring pike fishing can be a lot of fun. Just come off the spawn, and they're very, very hungry. The water temperature is really going to determine how aggressive they are. You really sometimes have to slow down your retrieve.
Decent fish, yeah.
What'd you get him on, Ben?
The black bunny again. It's starting to heat up a bit here. They sure like that black, that's for sure.
Now, did it hit on the drop, or was it after a couple strips?
Yeah, again, I let it sink just a little bit.
I've had a couple where they've nailed it just as it's gone down.
Again, same size. Slide my fingers right in here.
All right. Nice fish. Oh, there he goes.
More out there.
It's really hard, isn't it?
Yeah, there we go.
Just see even with that clouser.
Yeah.
Boom. Now, do you let it drop a bit?
I'm gonna let it sink a bit, but see if there's any aggressive ones right off the bat and kind of bring her in. Nice and easy. Sometimes they'll chase it, so you gotta strip it right in.
Look for the follows too.
Yeah.
I'm making a lot of those. That's one thing I really like about pike, is that a lot of times they'll follow and right at the last minute they'll nail it. Very visually exciting. That was kind of a classic.
All right, double header.
All right. In that, what happened there, and this is a reason why you always got to keep your line tight after you make that cast and your fly goes down. Oh, look at this guy jump. Whew. This pike hit as soon as the fly basically started sinking on the drop. And it's about 6-7 feet out there. So I cast out. I actually had a bit of a curve in my cast because it hit the wall known as the wind today. And then what I did was I quickly brought in some line so I could keep tight to the fly the whole way down. And when it was going down, I suddenly felt a bump, lifted up, and there he was.
Get them both off here.
All righty. Well, that's a nice one. You're getting the bigger ones over there. I gotta move. See mine here. That's a nice fish, Ben. Okay, let's get my friend here.
Floppy little guys.
They sure are.
There goes this one.
And this one is getting all spun up in my line.
Oh, right out there.
Let's just let him go like that. There we go.
All right.
Listen, Ben.
Double header. Oh, drop those.
Thanks for being on the show.
For sure.
From all of us here at the New Fly Fisher, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Hi, I'm Tom Rosenbauer. Do you want to learn more about this crazy and exciting world of fly fishing? Watch the other videos in this series and subscribe to the channel.